Hi guys, this is a redo. Messed up and I'm not sure how, but I'm making this video over again. It's test corrections for the inequalities test for 7th grade students. And let's get started. So on the first one, I'm not going to write with that, I'm going to write with a pen. X divided by 4 minus 6 is less than negative 5. Well, I'm not going to do the boxes, but I am going to do the opposite thing in the opposite order. I started with the x, I divided by 4, and then I subtracted 6. So the first step would be to add 6 to both sides. So if I take away 6 and then I add 6 back, I'm simplifying, because now all I have left is x divided by 4 is less than, and negative 5 plus 6 is 1. So if you look at your boxes, they should be similar. The first step was to add 6 to the negative 5, and you get positive 1. And then a lot of you guys got this wrong. This is divided by, so the opposite would not be division, it would be multiply. Sometimes we get in the habits of just doing the same things without thinking. But I have to multiply both sides times 4. Times 4 times 4. If I'm multiplying times 4 and dividing by 4, they cancel, and I'm left with x is less than, and then 1 times 4 would be 4. So x is less than 4. Now, I'm disappointed that some of you did not make an effort to graph, and it says clearly, graph the solution. So if it's less than 4, does it include 4? And the answer is no. So I'm going to put an open circle on 4, because 4 is not the correct answer. And it's less than 4. So I'm actually going to use this pen to mark. So the answer is less than 4. So anything going this direction is less than 4. Number 2, again, I'm not going to use the boxes. Or if you didn't get this one done. I'm not going to use the boxes, but I'm going to do it the same way. I started with x, and I multiplied it by 2, and then I subtracted 5. To solve it, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Like the hands-on equations, it's a two-handed thing. So now I'm left with just 2 x's on this side, and 9 plus 5 is 14. So this is kind of an easy problem here. If 2x's is 14 and I divide each side by 2, then I find out that 1x is 7. Now I'm putting an equal sign here, but that's sure not correct. The nice thing about doing it this way is you can copy the sign. X is less than or equal to 7. So when I graph it, it should be a solid dot, because 7 is one of the possible choices, because that's an equal sign, and then anything else that's less than 7. So that was graphing that solution. So I think some of you also spent too long on number 1 and 2. If you have hard problems at the start of a test, skip them and come back. Number 3 did have some choices, but I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to copy the problem. The first thing I'm going to do is add 5 to both sides. I'm going to put a line down the middle to remind myself not to cross sides. I'm left with negative 2x, and 15 plus 5 is 20. So then I have to divide by negative 2. This means multiplied by negative 2. I need to divide by negative 2. Usually in algebra we write the division with a fraction bar. These would cancel, because multiplying something by negative 2 and turning right around and dividing by negative 2 is just the same thing as starting with x. 20 divided by 2 is negative 10. So it's negative 10, but because the last step I divided by a negative, I have to turn the sign around. So this is the one rule breaker. It has to go this direction. X is greater than negative 10. If you tried some answer choices, you would see that if you pick something less than negative 10, it wouldn't work. If you substituted something bigger than negative 10, it would work. And I'm trying to do this quickly, so you have time to do the corrections. But I will show you if I try 0 in this problem. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. Minus 5 would be negative 5. Is negative 5 less than... yeah, I have the right answer. Is it less than 15? And the answer is no, that doesn't work. And so you know that the answer has to be greater than negative 10. And actually that did work. I'll have to think back through. I am positive this is the answer. X is greater than negative 10. Oh, 0 was greater than negative 10, so it did work. Take that back, rewind. Now time for a dumb blonde joke. This blonde was flying a helicopter and it crashed. And they asked her, what happened? And she said, well, I was getting kind of sweaty, so I turned off the fan. And now back to the test. Add 3 to both sides. I have 5x's is greater than or equal to 40. If I divide both sides by 5, x is greater than or equal to 8. So greater than or equal to 8, well, this has 8, but that's less than, so that's wrong. This one has negative 8, that's not the answer. This is the correct answer. Greater than or equal to 8. So is C. And I know the dumb blonde wasn't very smart, but I have my own problems. I got my password hacked into. For the 3rd time, I had to change the name of my dog. Get it? Instead of changing my password, I changed my dog's name. Because I named my password after my dog. Okay, what is the correct method of solving? Well, I divided by 3 and then I subtracted 6. To solve it, I would add 6 first and then I would multiply by 3. The correct answer was D as in dog. That should have been an easy. Your middle school is having a carnival. Admission is $8. That is a one-time fee. Each game costs 50 cents. So you're adding 50 cents per game. And it says the maximum you can spend is $20, so it's less than or equal to 20. So the correct answer is not A, because this has $8 a game. This has $8 a game. The correct answer is C. D has you spending more than $20. Number 7. Stanley has $900 in the bank. This was kind of a tricky one. So he starts with $900, and then every time he rides the bus, he spends $2. So it's $2 each time that you're taking away. And he wants to have at least $500 in the bank. So that has to be greater than or equal to 500. So I don't see that one. But the one that actually matches up to it is B. If I put the 500 on the front, I would have to turn the sign around. So the correct answer is B. I started with $900. I took away $2 each time. I wanted to spend less than or equal to 5. I wanted to have at least 500. So 500 has to be greater than that amount. This amount has to be greater than 500. Rewind. Okay, that is correct. 8 Dwight saved $750. The gaming system cost $400. The games cost $49 each. This was pretty easy. So it's 49x plus 400 equals $750. $49 each game plus the $400. And I put equals. At most he wanted to, at most how many games? So it has to be less than or equal to 750. So I take 400 away from both sides. And I'm left with $350 after buying the gaming system. So how many 49s go into $350? And I'm going to tell you that 7 times 50 is 350. So the correct answer would be 7. You would have 7, you'd have a few dollars left over. You can't buy the 8th one. If you divide that, you get 7 remainder or something, and so you cannot buy an 8th one. You can buy only 7 games. To check that, I'm going to do 49 times 7, and I get 343, and that means I would have $7 left because I had $350. So the last one says write an inequality. By inequality, I meant math inequality, a whole sentence. Some of you just put a sign. So it's $4 a gallon, and that's a word that a lot of you missed. So it's $4 each gallon. So it's 4G. I gave you partial credit for getting some of this right. The car wash was $12. And he wants to keep his purchase under 60. Now, some of you had the sign wrong. It's not less than or equal. It's under 60, which means less than 60. So that was the inequality. And the last one, I wanted you to explain the inequality symbol. I was also looking for you to explain the whole thing. Under is less than. I looked for words that $4 a gallon was 4x. I gave you credit for that. I gave you credit for $12 for the car wash, was a one-time thing. And I gave you credit for writing $60 total. And I would have given you credit if you'd have written under means less than. So these are things I was looking for on number 10. I hope that helped. I hope you paid attention and got at least one good joke out of this.